Luciana stood at the threshold of a new life, but didn't feel quite real. The car that came to pick her up was sleek and black, its windows tinted and its seats softer than anything she'd ever sat on. She clutched her grandmother's hand tightly as the vehicle pulled away from the neighborhood she had known all her life. Villa Esperanza grew smaller in the rearview mirror, the winding alleys and makeshift stalls slowly replaced by broad avenues and polished sidewalks. Everything outside the window looked like a different world, clean, quiet, polished. Her grandmother sat beside her, clutching a cloth pouch filled with family relics and a faded photograph of Luciana's late parents. "No matter where we go," Dona Teresa whispered, "remember who you are, Mija. Kindness brought you here. Let carry you forward." Their new apartment was nestled in a quiet neighborhood with manicured lawns and buildings painted in soft pastels. It wasn't grand, not by Eduardo Viscaino's standards, but to Luciana, it felt surreal. A real stove, hot running water, a window that actually closed. She wandered from room to room that first night, touching things as though they might vanish if she blinked too long. A week later, she stood in front of Aurora International Academy, her new school. The building was massive, with white columns and large glass doors that reflected the morning light. Students filed in, laughing, their uniforms crisp, their shoes shined, their confidence worn like a second skin. Luciana felt small, her freshly ironed uniform stiff against her skin and her nerves louder than the cars on the road. She had spent the previous night reading and rereading the student manual, trying to memorize every hallway layout and rule. But nothing could have prepared her for the weight of those first stairs. Some students looked at her with indifference, others with curiosity, a few with the kind of judgment that cuts sharper than words. Her first few days were a blur of trying to keep up. New lessons, advanced coursework, strange customs in the cafeteria. She sat alone at lunch. Teachers mispronounced her name. Students asked her, without malice but with ignorance, if her neighborhood had internet or if she'd ever eaten sushi. The scholarship didn't come with instructions on how to belong. Luciana didn't cry, though. She learned early that tears only feed the dust. One afternoon, after a particularly difficult math class, she stayed behind to ask a question. That's when she met Miss Helena, the literature teacher, a woman in her early 30s with expressive eyes and a soft voice that never needed a shout. She didn't rush Luciana out the door like other teachers sometimes did. "You're Luciana Silva," Miss Helena said with a gentle smile. "You asked a question during our first class about metaphor. That was a good question." Luciana lowered her gaze, unsure whether it was a compliment or a test. Miss Helena continued, "I read your essay, the one about the peanut butter sandwich. It wasn't just well written. It was honest. Rare." Luciana nodded, the smallest hint of pride flickering in her chest. "You don't have to try to sound like anyone else in your writing," Miss Helena added. "Your voice matters. You matter." It was the first time someone at the school had said that without looking at her like a charity case. Over the next few weeks, Miss Helena became more than a teacher. She was a lighthouse in uncharted waters. She offered books that weren't on the syllabus, books by people who came from neighborhoods like Villa Esperanza. She gave Luciana a journal and told her to write, even if it didn't make sense. Especially when it didn't make sense. Luciana began staying after school, not just for tutoring, but to learn how to navigate this new world without losing herself in it. She learned to ask better questions, to speak with her head held high. She started to notice things, subtle slights, assumptions made by teachers, the invisible lines drawn between the scholarship students and the others. She also began noticing Eduardo Viscaino's. Not in person, he was often traveling, but through whispers, newspaper clippings, and the occasional television interview. He was a man of mystery, rarely seen, but deeply influential. The school bore his name in more ways than one. What struck her most wasn't his wealth, but the absence of his presence in his own family's life. At school events, it was his son, Ricardo Viscaino's, who often represented the family. Ricardo was young, stylish, and always surrounded by people, but something about him felt off to Luciana, too polished, too eager to smile. There was a coldness in his eyes, even when he shook hands. She didn't have proof, just a feeling. And Luciana had learned to trust her instincts. Back at home, her grandmother's health was improving, thanks to the treatments Eduardo had funded. Dona Teresa would sit by the window in the afternoons, crocheting and humming songs from her youth. Life was better, easier, but Luciana never let herself forget that all of this, the apartment, the school, the comfort, was built on a moment of compassion. A sandwich shared beneath a tree. And just beneath the surface of her new life, she could sense the tension building. The silence around Eduardo's family. The dismissive glances from Ricardo. The questions no one asked aloud. Luciana had begun a new chapter, yes, but not one without conflict. And somewhere deep inside her, a quiet determination took root. If she was going to make it in this world, she wouldn't just survive it. She'd understand it, watch it, learn it, and if she ever needed to, she'd be ready to challenge it. Luciana adjusted to her new life with a quiet grace, absorbing the rhythm of her surroundings like a sponge. The lavish halls of Aurora International Academy no longer felt like a maze, but a stage she was slowly learning to navigate. Still, she never let the sparkle blind her. Beneath her notebooks and school ID card, she always carried a folded photo of her grandmother, her anchor. It was during a routine school fundraiser, an event filled with champagne glasses and suits that smelled of money, that Luciana first encountered Ricardo Vizcaínos up close. He was laughing with board members, charming guests with rehearsed charisma. To the untrained eye, he was the perfect heir, confident, capable, a mirror image of his father in youth. But Luciana noticed the way his jaw tightened when no one was watching, the impatient glances he gave to the less powerful, and the carefully curated words he used to avoid speaking in depth. She began watching him subtly, the way her grandmother used to observe the weather, calmly, instinctively, and with purpose. In the weeks that followed, she noticed patterns. Certain students at the academy, those whose parents held company shares or positions in the Vizcaínos group, received unmarked envelopes from Ricardo. Whispered conversations in hallways followed. Then there were the midnight phone calls she overheard when staying late for debate club, and the mysterious appearance of luxury vehicles dropping off strange visitors at the Vizcaínos Foundation's back entrance. Luciana didn't jump to conclusions. Instead, she did what Miss Helena taught her. She documented. She started keeping a log, noting dates, names, conversations she could recall, and anything that felt out of place. With time, the puzzle pieces began to fit together. Funds were being moved, grants issued to shell organizations, foundation assets diverted through shadow accounts. It wasn't just mismanagement. It was deliberate, and Ricardo was at the center of it. But what truly alarmed her wasn't the scale of the corruption. It was how no one else seemed to notice. Or worse, how they chose to look away. Luciana realized she wasn't just gathering facts. She was preparing for a reckoning. Because if Eduardo Vizcaínos truly cared about justice, he deserved to know what was growing in the shadows of his empire. And she was ready to be the one to tell him. The months rolled by, each day sharpening Luciana's resolve. Every detail she captured, every whispered conversation she pieced together became a thread in a growing tapestry of evidence. She balanced her schoolwork, her grandmother's care, and her covert investigation with a quiet determination that surprised even herself. What had begun as cautious observation evolved into a mission, one she felt compelled to see through, no matter the cost. Luciana's evenings were often spent in the dim light of her room, hunched over a laptop, cross-referencing bank statements and foundation reports she had discreetly obtained through a sympathetic staff member. Numbers and names blurred into patterns of deceit and betrayal. It was clear Ricardo was siphoning off millions, funneling funds into shadow companies that existed only on paper. The foundation meant to uplift communities was instead enriching one man's greed. She knew exposing Ricardo wouldn't be easy. The Vizcaínos family wielded immense power, and Ricardo was clever, ruthless even. But Luciana had something that Ricardo underestimated: her intimate knowledge of hardship and an unwavering sense of justice. Her mentor, Miss Helena, became an unexpected ally. One afternoon, After reviewing Luciana's meticulous notes, she placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're brave, Luciana," she said softly. "But remember, bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it." Encouraged by Miss Helena's words, Luciana prepared carefully. She crafted a detailed report, a blend of hard evidence and clear narrative that would leave no room for doubt. She rehearsed how to present it with calm confidence, knowing that this confrontation could redefine her future. The day of Eduardo Viscaino's birthday gala arrived, a lavish affair held in the city's grandest ballroom. Luciana entered quietly, feeling the weight of every gaze but steady in her purpose. As Eduardo mingled with guests, his face lighting up with the warmth of celebration, Luciana found her moment. Taking a deep breath, she approached him, extending the report. "Mr. Viscaino's," she began, voice steady but respectful. "There are things you need to know about your son." Eduardo's expression shifted from surprise to concern as he scanned the documents. The room seemed to hold its breath. Luciana continued, calmly outlining the evidence, explaining how she had uncovered the web of corruption. For the first time, Eduardo saw the truth not through rumors or secondhand reports, but from the clear, unwavering eyes of a young girl whose courage transcended her years. In that moment, the power dynamics shifted. Luciana was no longer just the grateful beneficiary of kindness. She was a guardian of integrity, a force for change within the empire itself. Years later, the story of Luciana's courage had become part of the very foundation she helped build. Now in her mid-20s, she stood at the helm of the Viscaino's Foundation, a role she embraced not as a symbol of privilege, but as a testament to the power of empathy and resilience. The once timid girl from Villa Esperanza had transformed into a confident leader, her voice resonating in boardrooms, classrooms, and community centers alike. Under her guidance, the foundation flourished. Scholarships multiplied, not just for gifted students, but for those who, like her, came from backgrounds marked by struggle and hope. Programs supporting healthcare, education, and entrepreneurship expanded into underserved neighborhoods, echoing the very kindness that had changed her life years ago. Luciana never forgot the lessons from her grandmother or Miss Helena. Every decision she made was grounded in the belief that true wealth was not measured in bank accounts, but in the lives uplifted and the opportunities created. She frequently visited Aurora International Academy, mentoring young scholarship recipients and encouraging them to find their own voices amidst adversity. Her relationship with Eduardo Viscaino's had grown from one of benefactor and beneficiary to a profound partnership rooted in mutual respect. Eduardo, now more a mentor than a distant figure, often praised Luciana's unwavering integrity and sharp mind. Together, they envisioned a future where the foundation would not only provide resources, but also inspire systemic change. Yet, the shadow of Ricardo's betrayal remained a cautionary tale. Luciana had offered him a chance at redemption, believing that even those who stray could find their way back. Though he had chosen a different path, his downfall underscored the necessity of vigilance and courage in leadership. Luciana's journey was a beacon, a living proof that a single act of kindness could ripple outward, igniting change far beyond its origin. Standing before a crowd gathered for the Foundation's annual gala, she smiled softly as she recounted her story, reminding everyone that compassion, courage, and conviction were the true currencies of a meaningful life. In the end, Luciana's legacy was not just about wealth or success, but about a heart that dared to believe in better and the power to make it real. Luciana's growth was not just measured by her leadership or the foundation she helmed. It was also evident in the sharpness of her mind and the strategic way she approached challenges. From the very beginning of her journey, She had shown an innate ability to analyze complex situations, connecting dots that others failed to see. This skill became her greatest asset when confronting the intricate web of corruption that once threatened to undermine the legacy she now protected. Her experience with uncovering Ricardo's schemes had taught her that knowledge was power, power to protect, to expose, and to transform. She immersed herself in understanding the inner workings of the business world, finance, and governance, taking courses, reading voraciously, and seeking mentors who could sharpen her acumen. Each lesson added a new layer of confidence and capability, allowing her to navigate not only philanthropic endeavors, but also the intricate politics that surrounded wealth and influence. Luciana's strategic acumen was visible in how she managed the foundation's resources, ensuring transparency and accountability became its cornerstones. She implemented rigorous auditing processes, developed partnerships with ethical organizations, and fostered a culture where every staff member understood the importance of integrity. Her leadership style was both visionary and pragmatic, balancing idealism with the realities of managing a complex institution. Beyond organizational success, Luciana's analytical mind enabled her to anticipate challenges before they arose. She studied social trends, economic shifts, and policy changes, adapting the foundation's programs to meet evolving needs. This forward-thinking approach positioned the Viscaino's Foundation as a leader in sustainable social impact, not just a charity reacting to crises. Her strategic brilliance also extended to mentorship. Luciana encouraged young professionals to develop critical thinking skills, empowering them to become changemakers in their own right. She believed that nurturing intellect alongside compassion was essential to building a better future. In all this, Luciana never lost sight of the humble roots that grounded her. Her strategic mind was always paired with a heart committed to justice and kindness. This rare combination made her not just a capable leader, but an inspiring one, someone who proved that intellect and empathy could coexist, driving profound change in the world. Her journey from a curious, observant girl to a sharp, insightful strategist was a testament to the extraordinary potential within those who dare to learn, to question, and to lead with both mind and heart. Luciana's growth was not just measured by her leadership or the foundation she helmed. It was also evident in the sharpness of her mind and the strategic way she approached challenges. From the very beginning of her journey, she had shown an innate ability to analyze complex situations, connecting dots that others failed to see. This skill became her greatest asset when confronting the intricate web of corruption that once threatened to undermine the legacy she now protected. Her experience with uncovering Ricardo's schemes had taught her that knowledge was power, power to protect, to expose, and to transform. She immersed herself in understanding the inner workings of the business world, finance, and governance, taking courses, reading voraciously, and seeking mentors who could sharpen her acumen. Each lesson added a new layer of confidence and capability, allowing her to navigate not only philanthropic endeavors, but also the intricate politics that surrounded wealth and influence. Luciana's strategic acumen was visible in how she managed the foundation's resources, ensuring transparency and accountability became its cornerstones. She implemented rigorous auditing processes, developed partnerships with ethical organizations, and fostered a culture where every staff member understood the importance of integrity. Her leadership style was both visionary and pragmatic, balancing idealism with the realities of managing a complex institution. Beyond organizational success, Luciana's analytical mind enabled her to anticipate challenges before they arose. She studied social trends, economic shifts, and policy changes, adapting the foundation's programs to meet evolving needs. This forward-thinking approach positioned the Viscaino's Foundation as a leader in sustainable social impact, not just a charity reacting to crises. Her strategic brilliance also extended to mentorship. Luciana encouraged young professionals to develop critical thinking skills, empowering them to become changemakers in their own right. She believed that nurturing intellect alongside compassion was essential to building a better future. In all this, Luciana never lost sight of the humble roots that grounded her. Her strategic mind was always paired with a heart committed to justice and kindness. This rare combination made her not just a capable leader, but an inspiring one, someone who proved that intellect and empathy could coexist, driving profound change in the world. Thank you so much for joining me on Luciana's incredible journey, from a simple act of kindness to becoming a powerful force for change. Her story reminds us all that even the smallest gestures can ripple outward and transform lives in ways we never imagined. If this story inspired you or touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps more stories like this reach others who need hope and encouragement. If you want to stay connected and hear more stories that celebrate resilience, compassion, and real-life transformation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll get notified every time we share new content that uplifts and motivates, helping you see the power of kindness in action around the world. And if you know someone who could benefit from hearing about Luciana's journey, whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, please share this video with them. Spreading stories of hope and courage is one of the best ways we can build a community of positivity and change. Also, I'd love to hear from you. What part of Luciana's story resonated the most with you? Have you ever experienced or witnessed an act of kindness that changed your life or someone else's? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and always enjoy hearing your insights and experiences. Together, we can create a ripple effect of kindness, empathy, and courage. So, like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep the spirit of Luciana's story alive and inspire others to believe that no matter where we start, our actions can change the world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Her journey from a curious, observant girl to a sharp, insightful strategist was a testament to the extraordinary potential within those who dare to learn, to question, and to lead with both mind and heart.